Alright, welcome to the Lesson 7 video notes dealing with exponents as being shown as repeated multiplication. Alright, so now this concept is going to be one of the pillar skills that you need to advance further on in this course. So, I highlighted here this rule of x to the n is equal to x being multiplied n times. So the common example, right, let's say we had 2 squared, right, that means that we're multiplying 2 by itself a total of 2 times, right? So x to the n means that we're multiplying whatever this x value is to the nth power, means that we're multiplying it a certain amount of times. So if we're just looking at numbers, for example, if we have 2 raised to the 4th, that means if we write it as an extended product, we write it as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we have this same number 2 being raised to the 4th power. It means that we're multiplying it by itself a total of 4 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 would be 16. Now for the next example, we have 3 squared. So that's just 3 times 3, right? Because it's being raised to the 2nd power, it means that it's being multiplied by itself a total of 2 times. 3 times 3 would give us 9. And then last but not least, we have the number 5 being raised to the 3rd power. It means that we're multiplying it by itself a total of 3 times. So 5 times 5 would be 25, times 5 again would be 125. So we can use this same rule with numbers and variables. So all we're going to do for this exercise right here, all right, is we're going to write out the extended product. And since, you know, we are dealing with variables, there really is not going to be a final value like we saw up here. We're just going to write it as the extended product. So x to the 3rd means that we are multiplying x by itself a total of 3 times. And that's it. That's all it's asking us to do. Now for this next example, we have x squared times y to the 4th. Okay? So let's use the associative property here. Let's write x squared times y to the 4th. All right? Now what we can do is we can break up each of these monomials right here, or variables. So we have x squared, which is x times x, and then y to the 4th means we're just doing y times another y times another y. Alright, so this is implying that we're multiplying all of these together, right? So if we're working from the bottom up now, we have 2 x's, right? So x being multiplied itself 2 total times, so that's x squared. Y being multiplied by itself a total of 4 times, that's y to the 4th. And then finally, we're still multiplying these together, and we get x squared and then y to the 4th. Now, for some that are a little bit more complex, like letter C right here, we have 2x being raised to the 2nd power. So a lot of students get sort of mixed up with this, where they say, okay, I have x and then squared and then I'm done. But you can't forget that this is just 2x and not just x. So this is really saying we're multiplying this entire thing by itself a total of 2 times. Alright, so let's give this video a pause and let's try to do the next 3 examples here on your own. Write it as the extended product, and don't forget that we have some coefficients here out in front. Alright, so if you did not use the associative property to break this up, that's okay. I'm going to do that because we are still showing that all 3 of these are being multiplied together. So we still have 4 as itself. X to the 4th means that we're multiplying it by itself a total of 4 times, and then y to the 3rd, multiplying y by itself a total of 3 times. Now, again, 9x squared is being raised to the third power. So this entire thing is being raised to the third power, which again means that we are multiplying it by itself a total of n times. So let's actually take a second to fill this in up here. Multiply by itself n times. Alright, so next one is negative 4x cubed being raised to the second power. So we can break this up like this. And we are done. That's it. Okay, now moving on to exercise number 3. There are some predictable patterns that we can follow with exponent rules, and we are going to see that once we get past this exercise. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out each of the following products and express them in the form of x to the n. So once we do this, maybe you can sort of figure out what this exponent rule is. So we have x squared times x to the third. So we can rewrite this as x times x, and then x times x times x. Alright, so we have this same variable of x, right? These are all being multiplied together. So now we can say that we're really multiplying x by itself a total of 5 times. So this is now going to be expressed as x to the 5th power. Alright, so again, give this video a pause and see if we can figure out the next two here on your own. Alright, so we will break this up as x times times, keep going until we have raised to the 5th power, and then we have x times x, which is x being raised to the 2nd power. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x's all being multiplied by itself. So we can say that this is represented as x to the 7th power. And then last but not least, we have x to the 4th times x to the 4th. So hopefully we get this by now. We're just rewriting this out as the extended product, multiplying it by itself n total times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x's being multiplied by itself here. So it's x to the 8th power here. Alright, so maybe some of us figured out this fancy rule here. Maybe some of us did not. But we are going to see this right here. So the rule for exponents, okay? We need, in order for this rule to be applied, we need the same base, or in other words, same variable. Okay. So if we have the same base or same variable, okay, these two terms are interchangeable. We have the same base and we're multiplying these together. All we can do as a little shortcut is do x to the a plus b power. So this is a critical part of Algebra 1, and this is a rule we need to memorize, right? So now we can really see, now that we know this rule, all right, we're multiplying the same variable, and we just add the exponents. If you go back to the original, or the first page, let's use this one for example, a little bit easier. We have x squared times x to the third, right? So we have the same base, so since we're multiplying them, we just add these exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5. And then in this example, same base as x, they're being multiplied together, so we can add these exponents. 5 plus 2 is 7. Right? So again, this rule is going to be very, very critical. So last but not least, we are going to do this little shortcut instead of writing it as an extended product. So we have x to the fourth being x to the fourth being multiplied by x to the ninth. So we have the same base, right? So we're going to keep the base. Let's highlight this up. We have the same base. All we do is add these exponents. So 4 plus 9 would be 13. Alright, so now we have x squared times x to the third times x to the fourth. Give this video a pause and see if you can do this on your own by applying this rule up here. Alright, so we have the same base, which is x. And let's give that a little highlight. Keeping that base. All we have to do is add these exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9. And then moving on here, we have the same base, same variable, which is y. So we're going to keep that base. And then we add the exponents. 2 plus 6 is 8. So again, understanding this rule right here, this first exponent rule, is going to be very, very critical for making our way throughout this entire Algebra 1 course. So we're going to end it off right here. We're going to pick up in class using this as a warm-up, and then we will continue on, move into our groups during class time.